Everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be the best and worst plus some special recommendation and non-recommendation of mystery, thriller, and horror books that I've read since I started Booktube. So at this point, I've read about 100 books from these three categories, and I thought it would be fun to talk about the best and worst ones to just get some recommendation, because obviously fall is a time of the year where I read, and I think most of us read these categories the most. We'll be putting on the screen a bunch of the ones that I have read as I'm talking, so you can get a little bit of an idea of the kind of books that I have read, and also so you can feel free to leave some of your recommendations in the comment section, because the more the better. I wanted to attempt to do a top 5 for each, but obviously I can never stick to a specific number, so it's a bit more than that. I attempted to have like specific prompts for each of them to give you an idea. We'll obviously give you a little summary and then my thoughts, and we'll do the same with the ones that I've hated, because just because I hated them doesn't mean that you will feel the same, although some of them probably. Let's start with the best ones, because obviously the books that I think most people would enjoy, the ones that I have enjoyed the most. The first one, I have recommended this book so much to so many people since starting Booktube, and it is The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. I feel like we have read a ton of domestic thrillers in the last couple of years. They just keep coming out, and it's always the same idea of like drunk wife, cheating husband, and this one is completely different from that, even though you're following these two people that meet randomly at the bar at an airport. There's this man, he just learned that his wife is cheating on him, and then this woman just sits down next to him, they start talking, and they end up pretty much planning the murder of his wife. So many twists, and they don't feel forced. I feel like sometimes some of them, it feels like the author is really trying to get you, like, aha, you didn't see that one coming, but like it doesn't feel like the same book anymore. I didn't feel like that with that one whatsoever, and let me read you a quote of it to give you an idea. Truthfully, I don't think murder is necessarily as bad as people make it out to be. Everyone dies. What difference does it make if a few bad apples get pushed along a little sooner than God intended? And your wife, for example, seems like the kind worth killing. So I really enjoyed it. If you're looking for a new messed up thriller to read during the fall, I highly recommend this one. I've recommended this book so much, but years later, it is still one of my favorite ones, and actually my favorite one by this author. The next one is the most unique book in my recommendation section, and it is The Library at Char, which is one of the best but weirdest horror books I've ever read. To be honest, I don't think I've read normal horror book. They're always like a little out there. I actually did a video about the weirdest books that I've read on Booktube. I'll link that down below if you are interested, looking for more recommendations. Some of them are like bad weird, some of them are good weird, and that one is the best good weird ever. If you've read this book, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to try to summarize the plot, but like bear with me, it is so weird. There are a few different point of views in the beginning. Like the first half took me like a week to read, and the second half one day. So you're starting and you're following this young woman. She's been kidnapped, so have been like her siblings. They're all living in the library at Char under father, who is kind of a god. And they're learning superpowers. Like she's learning all the languages ever, including like supernatural ones. And father is really, really cruel to everyone. There's another story that you're following. You're following a man that is trying to solve a murder. At one point, the story is even told through the eyes of a lion. Like weird. But the second half, things start making sense, and it's really, really interesting. And like I said, I've never read another book like this. I don't think I will. It's very unique. I think it's a little gruesome. I feel like I remember some scenes. I know some people were asking me to mention that if I can remember. I think that one's a bit more out there, but I highly recommend this. If you're looking for a really interesting, different book to pick up during the fall, this has been becoming more and more popular for a good reason. I feel like everyone tells me that they've read it and it was really weird, but somehow they enjoyed it. I'm not sure how much I'm selling it with that description, but like, give it a shot. Trust me. Obviously, if I'm going to be talking about great thrillers, I have to mention Blake Crouch. Dark Matter specifically, I think it's the best way to start with him. If you are in a reading slump and you're looking for a thriller that you can't put down and you don't mind sci-fi elements, I would highly recommend him as an author. I did like these other series or books by him, but I think this one is the safest choice. I don't even want to tell you the plot, but really vaguely, because it's better to go blind, but very vaguely, following this like 40-year-old man, and one day he gets kidnapped, and when he wakes up, his wife is not his wife, his son doesn't exist, nothing makes sense, and lots of twists. I really, really enjoyed it. Obviously, it reads like a movie, so like the writing isn't super prosy, and the characters are a little like 2D, but if you are in a slump and you just want something that stresses you out, this author in general is it. I will continue to read everything else he comes out with. His old stuff is weaker, but this one specifically, I highly recommend it. I mentioned earlier that I made my dad read this book. It's the only book, the only author I've been able to make him read. He read that one and then Recursion, and he loved both of them, read them super, super fast. So yes, fantastic. Still a fan of those. The best mystery I have read on Booktube, yeah, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I am so late, but I read this year, and it's easily one of the best books that I've read this year. The plot is a little hard to summarize because it begins with a lot of like info about this journalist, financial journalist, which seems like, ooh, that's going to be heavy to read about, but it becomes super interesting because he is hired by a really rich man to solve a like mystery murder. His family, basically, they had a party, and this relative of him disappeared, got murdered, and he doesn't know who did it. But because they were all stuck on an island, basically was essentially all his family, it has to be someone around him. And it's been years and years and years, and he doesn't want to die and, you know, leave his money to someone that murdered someone else. So do read it, please, if you haven't. I have next 2 books on my shelves. I will be reading them like literally ASAP. But I really, really enjoyed it. Easily 5 stars. I can't believe it took me so long to read this, and I can't wait to continue. If you're like me and you still haven't picked them up, you need to. They're so good. Like so good. I was not expecting that. Like literally, this was randomly one day I read it because I was doing like a 1 week, 1 shelf. Basically, I put the number of all my shelves in a jar, pick one up, and it was my random shelf, and I was not excited to read any of the books on there. So I read like the first chapter of a couple ones and could not put this one down. Highly recommend. I wanted to include a cozy mystery because I've realized throughout the last couple of years that I'm a big fan of them. Like they just work for me somehow. And the perfect author for that specific category has to be Megan Miranda. All the Missing Girls is my favorite by her. I'll put on the screen some of her other books in the order that I've liked them the most to least, just to give you a little bit of an idea. But they all happen in like small town, which again seems to be a theme that I really like. Also did the video on that topic, actually. We'll link that down below. But all of her books seems to have also, like she plays with timelines. In this one specifically, there have been 2 murders 10 years apart in this small town. And you're following it backward, like the second murder, basically 2 weeks, 15 days after, and then you go back to the day where it happened. And I really enjoyed it. Surprisingly, again, kind of cozy-ish, and I just like her as an author. It seems to be pretty solid all the time. I say that because the last one that she published was a little weaker, but this one I do recommend if you are in the mood for like cozy mysteries. I feel like during the fall, you crack a window, you have a blanket. I need a book like that. I needed to include one Stephen King book because everyone is always asking me for my favorite by him, and it is The Long Walk, which is not his usual style, which is probably why I liked it, because I did a video talking about all the books that I've read by him, also linking that, and I realized that I don't really like him all that much. If you want something more classic by him, I do recommend Pet Sematary. I think that's probably closer to his usual stuff that I also still liked. But The Long Walk is the one that I enjoyed the most. You're following 100 teenage boys that are engaging in the long walk for some reason. They decided that they wanted to take the risk to walk until there's only one left standing. Basically, you can't stop to, pee, you can't stop to sleep, and if you stop, you get a few chances after that, you're just shot in front of everyone. But if you survive, the last one do get to like choose whatever they want. So I guess that's the reason they're doing it. Seems still stupid to me, but they do. I did think it was totally horrifying. I could not put it down. My legs were hurting just reading the book. The ending does suck, as it's always the case in his books, I feel like. But in my personal opinion, this is his best one. At least the best one that I've read. Would recommend that one. It's less famous, so you might not have read it. Do recommend it. I tried to move the ring light so it wouldn't blind you in my glasses, but I need them to read. So quickly, some special recommendation. Behind Her Eyes. If you don't mind like supernatural kind of thrillers, I would recommend this one. The ending is so far-fetched, but it worked. It sounds like something I would absolutely hate because it does sound like a domestic thriller. You're following a single woman who, a single mother, I should say, and she drinks a lot and she kisses her future boss who turns out is married. And it sounds like I would absolutely hate it, but it worked. I didn't watch the TV show, so I can't really tell you if it's as good, but it worked. I don't know. I can't explain it. So many people hated it, but I liked it somehow. I'm not selling it, but like if you've read it, you understand why I'm like, I still don't know why. The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, murder mystery with like someone reliving the day over and over again. The Test by Sylvain Neuvel, which kind of Black Mirror-ish short story, a short novella. Like it's 100 and something pages. If you like podcasts, I read The Night Swim earlier this year and did really enjoy it. The Last Time I Lied, which is my favorite by Riley Sager. The Sundown Motel, which I read earlier this year also, recently. Think Ghost, Supernatural. Sharp Object, because obviously I need to mention Gillian Flynn. I also really liked the TV show. I think I'm kind of associating both together at this point because I read it just before I watched the show and it's really messed up, but I love it. She writes really morally gray female characters that are interesting. I need it too. And then The Push, so if you like mom doesn't know if their child, usually daughter, in this case daughter, is supernatural, evil, I don't know what's going on, or if it's the mom that's crazy. Do recommend this. This one is the best one that I've read with that trope. So now that we talk about the best ones and some special recommendation, it is time to bash some books. The worst ones that I've read on Booktube. I tried to do top 5, which was not easy. But I wanted to have like specific reason why, because you will see a theme and then you can leave me also some recommendations, but also know if my taste is similar to yours. Let's start with the worst one that I've read this year, Survive the Night. This is, I think, the only book I gave 1 star to this year. I have given less 1-star rating this year because I have been forcing myself to put down books I'm hating, which I used to be so stubborn and never DNF books, but that has changed for the best. But Survive the Night, because it's the author, I think it's the 5th book that I read by him. And you might have noticed that I mentioned The Last Time I Lied by him in the special section, special mentions. And I've been hoping another book by him would work for me, but his female characters suck. Specifically, this one is full of just cliche. It's cliche after cliche after cliche. You're following this young girl. She's at university and her roommate / best friend got murdered by the campus killer, and she probably saw it, but she doesn't remember, and she wants to just leave the campus, quit everything, and then she catches a ride with a stranger. She's apparently off her meds, and then it's like, it was bad. It was terrible. The ending was horrible. And then there's the after ending too, which, spoiler free obviously, but like it's even worse. I haven't hated a book like this in a while. It's just straight up horrible. Straight up horrible. If you want to hate read it, maybe do that, but I am so mad at this book. So bad. So bad. 9 Perfect Strangers. I really liked Big Little Lies by her. I think the best part of it was that the characters were super likable, so I was hoping that I would feel similarly with this one, and no, every single character is horrible. I hated every single one of them. I'm pretty sure they're not meant to be likable, but it doesn't matter. Like, you need to have something in a book to make you want to read it. The writing is very average. The story's straight up bad, and then the characters are bad, so I couldn't finish it, which I don't do that often, but this one, 50-something%, there's a twist that happens. Hated it. And then recently I looked up the ending and I did the right thing because it kept going in that direction and it was awful. I know it is now a TV show. Apparently they have made some changes, so I can't compare. I haven't watched it. I have no interest in watching it after reading the book. It was so bad. So yeah, hated that one. I also wanted to mention Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay because so much potential, but I got so mad at the ending, which again, I will not spoil. If you're curious, let me know in the comment section. I'll just put spoilers and like, you know, enter. You fall in family that are going to the cabin at the end of the world, basically really isolated in the forest. And then a group of people come and hold them hostage, I guess. And then they try and force them to do certain things. Otherwise, the end of the world is going to happen. So like, you don't know, are they crazy? Is it true? Like, I like that idea. But the book is like 200-something pages and the ending sucked. It was so bad. I'm still mad about it. I could complain all day about the ending. So I hate when that happens. Like when you're like super into it, you're like, I don't even care what the ending is. Like I just want an ending. And no, you definitely don't want that ending. So yeah, don't recommend it. Quickly wanted to mention also Peter Swanson a second time, but this time in the worst category, and it is All the Beautiful Lies. I like to say that I just don't like incest, which kind of a joke, but kind of not. There are two inappropriate relationships between step parents and stepchildren, which, look, I understand that like shock value is a thing. Like lately, authors are trying to really surprise you, and it's supposed to make it better. But like, apparently, I draw the line there. Apparently, that's my line. So yes, not a fan of it. Could not finish it. Did look up the ending. I'm glad I didn't finish it. It felt more like family drama with like a whodunit kind of murder thing, and no, The ratings on Goodreads are really bad, so I feel reassured that it's not just me, but like so bad. And finally, Karen Slaughter as an author, that is definitely a me thing. I feel like people either give her 5 stars or also feel similarly as I do that she just goes too far. I read Pretty Girls by her, and then I accidentally read The Good Daughter. Basically was looking for a new audiobook in my library, clicked that one, had great reviews, did not realize it was the same author, and I was traumatized the second time. I just feel like she has a lot of gratuitous, is that how you say that in English? Damn it. Gratuitous. Thank you, Google. Valence towards female characters. And like, I understand they're like murder, blah, blah, but still, it just feels like almost fetishized, and I can't. I will never read another book by her. It's too far for me. I didn't think I would find a book triggering ever, but her books are just, they're it for me. And now quickly, some special mentions of books that I hated. You Will Know Me. I really don't like whenever a mystery is basically family drama with there's no mystery. Like, there's no mystery whatsoever. It's just boring. One by One, by far her worst work. Silent Patience, so much hype for nothing. So not worth it. Mallory, that's a perfect example of a book that should have stayed a standalone, and they decided to have a second book. No, we hate that. The Chain, potential, flopped. Run, once again, the ending was terrible. Terrible. Honestly, I feel like that's a theme for me. Whenever the author leaves the ending open, I will hate you. Like, I don't care if it's aliens, ghost, I don't care. I just want you to do your job and tell me what happened. If you leave it open, I see it as you had no idea how to finish your own book and you're making me do the work and it's not satisfying. Like, just do it. Just finish the damn book. It's just a pet peeve of mine. We all have those. But yes, these are some of the best and worst books that I've read since I started BookTube in the mystery, thriller, and horror categories. I do really like these, but I feel like I'm often disappointed, and I don't know if it's because I have read so many and I grew up reading so many that I struggle to find ones that will really blow my mind. But I say that, but I still find some that I really, really enjoy. So you just have to find like your specific categories, I guess, for each of them and then focus on them and you'll have more 5 stars. But yes, these are my recommendations, my best, my worst. I would love to know in the comment section if you have read some of these, your opinions on them, and obviously some recommendations for me and everyone else, because fall is the time where I just crack that window. My neighbor has this huge apple tree that is completely red right now and it's just scream falls. It's cold actually today, so I know what I'm doing in a couple of hours. I will be sitting down with a book because I'm going to be reading a bunch of mystery thrillers from now on until like December. And I can't wait. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs up, subscribe. I will be putting more videos on the screen that I recommend you check out, and I will see you very soon in a coming video. Bye.